Interview with the Vampire has a really, really good start to the series so far. And if I were you, I wouldn't compare the movies with the show because obviously there's many differences. With the main one being it's a TV series, so it could delve more into the story. But I will say that in a way, this story does kind of tie in with the movie, as the story begins with Malloy, who interviewed Louis years back, had an incident occurred back then, which set things off the rails. But now Louis wants to try once again, tell the story to Malloy with no BS this time. Tell it from beginning to end, the day he turned to the vampire, all the way to the present time. And the setting is in New Orleans, 1910, where he ran a successful brothel. Now you gotta remember, this is the time where racism was the norm, so he and other black folks back then dealt with some real BS, called names as well as other fucked up shit. And there was no camera phones back then to catch it. But hey, you know what? Even if even if they had them, it wouldn't have mattered anyways. But anyhow, Louis was a breadwinner of his family, which comprised of his brother, sister, and mother. Though racism is plain as day, Louis had some pull in town. And for the most part, Louis is the man. Now you already know when you hear that line that he's the man, what's going to come up next, right? Until this one night, a stranger comes into town. A dude by the name of Lestat. With his sly French-speaking self, this man even had the nerve to take Louis' favorite prostitute. But there's something different about this dude. Louis seems to not know if he wants to beat this dude up or get to know him better. And then later in the story, they meet again gambling, and he learns that Lestat has the ability to speak telepathically, as well as slow time, which helped him win a big pot in the game. And moving on later in the story, they actually start to kick it. Louis kicking it with Lestat now. Goes from hating him to hanging with him. Even introduces him to his family. Some of the family's cool with him, and then some aren't. But what's to become of this relationship in the long run? Like I said before, great first episode, and way better than I expected. Dude, Louis is an excellent lead. I mean, I'm telling you right now, great cast and greatly cast and everything. I really like how we get to know a good chunk of who he is. Now, even though he runs a brothel, he's loved by his family. Though his brother, who aspires to be a priest, doesn't agree with his choice of occupation, there's still love between the two. Another thing we learn about Louis is how bullheaded he was as a young man. He thought he was bulletproof. Obviously, we know he learned from that. I mean, we know he turns to a vampire at some point, right? Which we get into in the next review. Then you have Lestat. I think they gave him a great introduction. Man coming from another land, looking for a new home to hang his hat on, and victims to feed on as well. But for some reason, Louis has his undivided attention. Something about him he likes, and he wants him. And he wants him really bad. The set design is awesome, dude. Very good source I know told me they use old photos from the early 1900s to recreate what the town once looked like to make it feel more authentic, which I think is pretty good. There's some bloody nastiness as well. I mean, how can you not have blood and violence in a vampire show, right? And I'll say somebody gets worked in this one as well. Actually, a few people. The acting is great, man. I mean, also, hey, dude, Rae-Dawn Chong plays Louis' mom in this, man. Now, look, real quick, I recommend you watch Commando with Arnold Schwarzenegger, and the highly controversial movie Soul Man. She's in those too, man. So yeah, please check those out, though, man. She's a great actress. I do feel they've caught the essence of the time and the town pretty well. Some great writing dialogue as well, too. Some good lines throughout, as well as some fun banter from the key characters, which I really enjoyed. And to think this is only the beginning, dude. This is the first episode. Louis is going to be in for a wild-ass ride, dude, as we already know, right? And I'm really looking forward to seeing how things play out and how the season ends, obviously. Should be fun. But I say this, though. I do have one prediction, though. I think Malloy, at the end of the day, will turn into a vampire. I mean, think about it. He's got Parkinson's disease. His body is slowly deteriorating and failing on him. And I feel Louis' story will make him curious enough to want to join him. Just a thought. Anyhow, I say check out the show, man. It's on AMC and AMC Plus. Great show. Comes out weekly, so Shay Nasty. Anyhow, though, hey, that's all for today. Until the next episode, Stay nasty, my friends. And Shay Nasty, out.